60% is an absurd annual rate of return that, if you could achieve this with your investments year after year, would fundamentally change your life. Even wilder, if more people could achieve a 60% return on their investments, it would be an unprecedented shift in wealth dynamics that could potentially create utopian or catastrophic consequences to the US economy. But before deep diving into that philosophical discussion, let's start on how a 60% return on your investments could completely change your wealth trajectory. Almost anyone in the US with a regular job could probably cobble together $25 a month to invest. That would be 2 less trips to McDonald's a month, or 2 less video subscriptions, or 1 really nice shirt that you're not getting. Let's start with what you could do literally right now after you stop watching this video. The S&P 500 index is the benchmark for the US stock market. Historically, if you invested in a basket of stocks from the S&P 500, you would on average make about 10% a year. You could achieve this today by buying exchange-traded funds like the SPY, VOO, IVV, or SPLG, just to name a few. If you invested $25 a month into these ETFs, in 10 years, you would have invested $3,000 and you would have made $3,000 with a total portfolio of $6,000. But let's say you bumped up that rate from 10% annually to 60% annually. That bump in return would turn your $3,000 investment over 10 years into $140,000. If you decided to bump your investment to $25 weekly instead of monthly, at a 60% rate, you would have a $600,000 portfolio in 10 years. Let's zoom out and see what would happen to the wealth distribution if the bottom 50% of households gained access to 60% investment yields. Right now, this year, as of Q1 2025, the top 1% of households held $49 trillion in wealth, while the bottom 50% of households held $4 trillion in wealth. This gap is so absurdly large that even with our 60% cheat code, it would still take some time for this disparity to correct. In particular, if the bottom half of households got the 60% cheat code rate, it would still take 10 years for the bottom 50% of Americans to match the top 1% of Americans in wealth. But regardless of this, the 60% cheat code would still lift millions of Americans out of poverty and completely shift the dynamics of capitalism. I don't know how society would react to a wealth shift like this, but hopefully someday we can test it out. This video was inspired by the StockBossUp app, a community for new investors to thrive. Over the July 4th weekend, the SBU 100, which tracks the community's investment performance, touched a 60% annual percentage return. Now, while I'm not naive to believe it will stay that high forever, I think our community could still consistently beat the S&P 500 and outpace a 10% return. When you share a stock idea on the StockBossUp app, the knowledge you share helps boost our community index. Whether it's an idea you heard from a friend, a new product you're really getting into, or a stock analysis you made yourself, each idea adds another brick of trust to a foundation of wealth knowledge we are building. With your help, maybe the SBU 100 can keep delivering a 60% cheat code to those who really could use a boost in wealth. But you know what, new investor? If you want to maximize performance and minimize volatility in your portfolio, check out the front page of StockBossUp.com or the StockBossUp app. We update our top picks daily so you can research a better portfolio and stop finding duds. Instead, find some wealth. And if you enjoyed this video, like it and subscribe. Every little bit helps. Skynet. And if you have a friend who is a new investor and keeps bugging you asking, hey, what's a good stock idea? Just point them to the front page of StockBossUp.com. We're like the Rotten Tomatoes of stocks, or the social network for stocks, or we're the answer-giving thing for stocks. Thanks for watching. New investors, there's no better time to invest than the present.